Hi my friends, this is Loli. Welcome back to the channel. Today I bring you 5 beautiful French country DIYs. For the first one, I'm going to use one of these hearts from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cover that section right there that has the word in with 3 coats of my Black & Decker paint and primer. While this dries, I'm going to take some of these butterflies from Dollar Tree and I'm going to paint them. Here I'm using velvet purple from Apple Barrel. I haven't seen it in a while, but I had it in my stash of paints here that I had here forever. So I'm painting the top section of the butterfly. Then I came in with this Anita's pink color from Anita's. It is actually called Princess Pink, and I am painting the bottom section. Gonna let that dry, and while that dries, I'm going to add the 2 colors, a combination of both of the 2 colors along the sides of the heart, as you see right there on the entire sides. So here guys, I didn't even realize this happened until now that I'm doing the voiceover. My butterfly was stuck to the back of my project the entire time I was painting this. But anyway, it did not ruin the paint job, so I'm just finally figured it out and removed it. Here I'm just adding some more of that purple. I just want that to be a nice mixture of both. And now we are going to use our scissors to open up that little slat a little bit thicker because I need it to be able to fit my butterfly right in there. And it was the perfect size. There it is. All right, so we're gonna put it to the side for now because we need to embellish this heart. So I'm gonna take some Mod Podge and I'm going to spread it around only that section that I painted with the white. I'm gonna give it a nice healthy coat of Mod Podge, and we are going to use napkins to embellish this. So I'm going to be using these napkins. These napkins came to me in one of the exchanges. It was sent over to me by Sharon from Cheap to Chic, and they are gorgeous. I didn't get to use them when she sent them to me, but they came out like a godsend for this. So thank you, Sharon, for that. And here I'm just using a little paintbrush, which is pretty wet, in order to rip those little sections on the heart that is just blank paper. Now I'm going to just remove those edges, and we are going to add this paper to the heart. I'm trying to figure out exactly what direction I wanted, so I decided to go it that way. And the places that had blank sections, I'm going to just go ahead and use the same wet paintbrush technique to remove those extra pieces, so it's like a nice little jagged edge instead of a straight cut. And I did that until I completely removed all of the napkin from the edges. So now here you're gonna see me trying to fill in those empty sections. So the same pieces that I removed from the sides, I'm going to reattach onto those little sections there that was blank. And here I'm coming in with a paintbrush with a little bit of both of those pens that I used for the sides, and I'm going to just give this a little bit more interest by adding pink to those areas. Here I wanted more on that butterfly, so I took the Princess Pink and I did the butterfly and little edges of the butterfly with that pink and positioned it exactly there as you see it. So here I'm going back in with some more of those leftover pieces of napkin in the sections that were a little blank. I wanted it to be a little bit more saturated with the flowers and the greenery that this napkin came with. So I'm just adding them into all those little sections right there, and they were perfect. Once I was satisfied with what this looked like, I just came in with my heat gun and dried it all up. And now I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue at the back of the butterfly to keep that in place. And I also painted the back eventually. And here it is. We'll see it again in the final reveal. My friends, today's video is part of another collaboration. It is the Napkin Exchange Challenge. And this challenge is hosted monthly by Sarah from Sunflowers and DIYing. She is an amazing creator. Make sure that you go over to her channel and show her some love. And I had the privilege to co-host with her this month. I am very thankful for that. Thank you so much, Sarah. Make sure, guys, that you head on over to the playlist so you don't miss out on all these creations. We have an amazing group of creators making some great stuff you don't want to miss. The link to the playlist will be in the description box below, and I will also pin it in the comments. Alright my friends, inspiration number 2. I'm going to use one of these smile words from Dollar Tree, and I painted it white with my Black & Decker paint and primer. Then I took the same napkin I used for the previous DIY. I'm seeing exactly how much I need, and I'm going to go ahead and see exactly the position I want to use it, and we are going to add some Mod Podge to the entire face of this word. Here I was trying a new method. I was trying to have the Mod Podge be a little tacky and then position my napkin over it. I was trying to avoid having to use my little iron. It was upstairs, and I was doing my crafting downstairs. So here I'm trying a new method to see if it works. So what I did is I just let the Mod Podge be tacky, and then I pressed down my napkins after I removed the 2 other layers on there. Now I'm trimming the excess piece there. It seems to be attaching pretty nicely, and I didn't have any wrinkling, so I was pretty happy about that. So I just try to be very careful, but I'm here I am using my heat gun just to activate that Mod Podge a little bit more to make sure that this is nicely secure. And here I'm positioning it. It wasn't too hot, so I wasn't burning my hand on anything. So just trying to make sure that's attached nicely. And now I am breaking the paper on the areas in which the curve of the word go, and I'm going to try to press down a little more. I was scared that it wasn't going to work, so I tried the best that I could to make sure that paper was down on there. Then I just cut off the excess paper, and we are going to use the lighter for the rest. So I'm just, look at that. I love this method, guys. The only thing I don't like about it, sometimes it makes your corners charted. So if that's something, a look that you're not going for, then I wouldn't recommend this method. But if you're going for a rustic, distressed look at the edges of your project, this is the best method for that. And I love how everything molds to the letter that way. So then I came in with my file and just sanded down some areas. And here I'm taking the same pink colors that I used for the previous DIYs, the Princess Pink and the Velvet Purple or Velvet Crushed Purple. And I am putting it along all the edges and the insides, the nook and crannies of my smile word. And this is how it's looking so far. And then here my boy is coming to see what his mama's doing and to craft a little bit with me. So I had another butterfly that I painted the same way I painted the previous one. And I'm gluing it right there at the top of my S. And I think this was the perfect touch. And here it is. You'll see it again on the final reveal. For our third inspiration piece, I'm going to use one of these little wooden flower picks from the Dollar Tree. Remove the tag, and I'm going to go ahead and take actually I used the Apple Barrel White Multi-Surface paint for this one. And I completely covered all the front, sides, and back of this flower with that. I gave it 2 coats. And I also painted this stick because I did want that to be nice and uniform. So now that everything is dry, I took some Mod Podge and I am adding it to that middle petal. And then I'm placing one of the napkin pieces that I left over from my previous DIY onto here. It's the same exact napkin I'm using from the last 2 DIYs. And here I'm using the wet brush method to remove the excess paper from the edges. And I also added some Mod Podge to the top and to the sides to seal in the napkin so everything stays nice in place. And here I use this brush. I didn't realize I still had some leftover paint on it, so you'll see me there how I kind of covered it up. So I took a piece of paper towel and removed some of that paint, and now I'm drying everything in place. So now we're going to take one of these small planters from the Dollar Tree. It comes in a pack of 3, and I painted the white using that multi-surface white chalk, no, not white chalk paint, that multi-surface paint from Apple Barrel in the color white. And I'm dry brushing the top section ring there as well. Then I'm using some of the same Princess Pink, and I'm dry brushing that color also. And I'm taking some of the crushed purple, Velvet Crushed Purple color, and also dry brushing it. And I am painting the inside. I ran out of some of that pink paint that I was using, so I added purple in the inside to cover up the terracotta finish. And once the paintbrush was dry, I am dry brushing that purple on the ring as well on the outside. And then I came in with a little bit of that pink I was able to get, and I'm dry brushing over the purple just to tone down the purple a little bit and give that effect that I had for the previous DIYs. Now I'm touching up the white. I had a couple sections in which I added some purple to the white and just cleaning things up, and that's it. Then I was able to squeeze out a little bit more of that pink out, and I was able to dry brush it over the purple. So now that that is nice and dry, I'm taking some hot glue, adding it at the bottom of the planter, and using some floral foam onto it. Then I'm positioning my flower. And it was a little bit too tall, so I cut off a little section there, and I like the height now. And then I took some Spanish moss from Dollar Tree, cut a piece off, and covered the floral foam with it. And this is what it's looking so far. But you're not ready. I'm not done yet. This was a little bit too white in comparison with the two other DIYs, so I took some antique parchment from Apple Barrel, and I am adding it to the flower. And I'm also dry brushing the bottom of the pot to have everything be nice and matchy. And I took another one of these butterflies, and oops, I dropped it there, guys. Then I'm gonna go ahead and take some of this aquamarine from Apple Barrel and paint the entire butterfly using that color. I actually did the bottom and then the wings. I kind of left the middle section free because I wanted to use a different color for that. So here I'm just pouring it directly onto there, and then I'm using some purple from Apple Barrel. I can't remember exactly which one, this one, guys. It was like kind of like magenta. And then once I finish that, I am dry brushing the magenta over the blue, and look how cute that looks. It looked like it was iridescent. Now I'm taking some of this zigzag ribbon, and I'm going to add it to that area there with the ring and the bottom meat. I just added a little bit of hot glue, wrapped it around the entire pot, and then added a little bit more of the hot glue. Once I made sure I knew exactly where to cut it, added a little bit of hot glue on top of the other one and placed it in place. And now we're going to take a dab of hot glue and add that butterfly right on there. I held it in place until it dried, and this is what we're looking for. Let me know how you guys like this one. I love it. If you like the project so far, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up. For our fourth inspiration piece, I'm going to use one of these bases from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to paint it white with my Black & Decker paint and primer. Then I'm taking one of these napkins, and I'm checking out exactly which patterns I want for this. Then I cut off that section. I'm going to remove the extra plies that this has, and then I'm going to cover my vase with some Mod Podge. I'm working in small sections, but I am putting lots of Mod Podge because I do want this to have that corrugated feel on it. So now I'm placing my napkin on there, making sure to have it as straight as possible, and trying to pull it taut so I don't have any of the wrinkles. The big wrinkles, I should say. I do want some little wrinkles, but I didn't want no huge wrinkles. Now I'm using the brush that's still damp with Mod Podge and pressing down carefully, kind of like in a dabbing motion all along the section where I added the Mod Podge. And I continue to do the same process until the vase was completely covered. Just making sure to work in small sections at a time so I had more control of the project. My friends, if you're still with me throughout this video so far at 15 minutes, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for staying with me and giving me your time. I truly appreciate you. Just leave me a heart emoji in the comments so I know who you are. And if you're still here and you haven't subscribed, guys, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It is free and it means the world to me. Go ahead and join the LoliDs Creations family. Alright, so the paper is on now, guys. Here I'm going to work on the edges now. So I added some Mod Podge on the edges here and all the little curves, making sure that there's no raised bubbles anywhere. Just pressing it down, brushing it down, just being very careful not to rip the paper. And here I added Mod Podge in the bottom section and brushed down the edges and onto the bottom, tuck them in. and did the same exact thing in the top. And then I'm adding some Mod Podge over the paper that I tucked into the vase to make sure that it stays nice and flat. I let the vase dry overnight, and then I took some lavender from Walmart and placed it inside. But wait, I'm not done yet. I'm going to take some of that zigzag ribbon that I used before, and I'm going to add it to the neck of the vase right here. I just measured to see exactly how much I needed, cut that piece, and we're gonna glue it right on there. As you see there, my boy was loving this. He was just watching me craft and having a fun time, and he also wanted a little bit of time to the camera. So you'll see him in a little bit making an appearance and saying hi to you guys very subtly. Wait for it. There he is. He is so funny. All right, guys, so off camera I made another I painted another butterfly. So here you'll see me attach it to this with a little bit of hot glue. Here I'm just seeing the color how I like it. I decided that I needed to add some of that magenta to this also, so I'm adding it like a little dry brush in the middle section of the wings, just to bring this a little bit more interest and let it, you know, match a little bit more with the rest of them. And then I attached it right there where the two pieces of ribbon meet. Sorry that the gun is right there in the middle. I wasn't thinking about that at the moment I was doing this. So here I'm holding it up in an angle like this, so the hot glue will seep through the holes and have a better hold on that butterfly. And I'm just removing the excess glue. And here it is, all completed. Let me know how you like it. All right, guys, for the fifth inspiration today, I'm going to use this tin planter that I got from my thrift shop. I removed that tag and cleaned it well with some of the glass cleaner wipes from the Dollar Tree, and I gave it actually 3 coats with my Black & Decker paint and primer. Once the piece was dry, I'm coming in with some more of that beautiful napkin that Sharon sent me. I'm so thankful. I love these, Sharon. Thank you again. So I am trying to figure out exactly which pattern I want on here. So I went with that one. I'm going to use one for one side and one for the other. And I'm going to also use this leftover piece that I had from the other project. And I'm going to add this to the sides, because that way I can finish up this napkin and not waste any of it. So I'm adding Mod Podge to the side, as you see right there. And I'm adding that piece that I cut in half, as you saw a couple seconds ago. And I'm placing it down right there. I want that to be molded to the little creases also. So I am making sure to fold it on the edges and let the crease show through. Then I'm adding some Mod Podge to the side, and I'm connecting that bigger piece to the edge of the other one and pressing it down. And I'm adding Mod Podge a little bit to my brush, just so I'm able to tuck that napkin onto the bottom of the rim there, as you see. And I'm using here small sections also, making sure to tap it down, and so everything is secured nicely to the piece without any bubbles. And I am embracing all the wrinkles. I think that it just brings it even more character. So I'm doing that on this side. Then I'm going to use that other piece on the other side. But first, I'm here, I'm tacking down the bottom. I'm going to make sure that that's also secure. And then I'm coming in with the other piece on the other side, starting from where I left off with the side piece. So I'm trying here to not have it be too wrinkled up. So I'm using it in small sections, pressing it down, making sure that I'm holding it taut as I'm pressing it down, and tapping and not rubbing. Then I'm adding Mod Podge to the bottom and tacking that down as well, making sure that's nicely secure. Then here I am tacking the sides, but I am using the wet brush method to remove the excess napkin off of here, because I did not want this white pieces to be covering the flower that I put in the side there in the beginning. So once I was happy with what it was looking like, I am adding Mod Podge to it to seal it in. And here I'm doing the same exact thing, removing that excess and adding a little bit of Mod Podge and sealing in those two pieces so it looks like all one seamless piece. And here you can see what it's looking like so far. So now to cover the back here, I'm going to use one of these felt pieces that I got from Dollar Tree during Easter, and I'm going to see exactly how much I need to cover this. So what I did is I folded it on, and I'm going to remove the excess there, and then I'm going to cut that piece as I folded it because it's going to be the same size for both of them. I'm going to cut that in half, just having the fabric be nice and taut, pulling up as I cut. And then I'm adding some hot glue to attach these. So I'm positioning them exactly where I think they're going to be. There were a little bit of an overlap on the felt in some pieces, so I'm going to go over it and trim it one more time. I didn't want the felt to be showing onto the planter when I was done with it. So I am trimming in the sections that would have been sticking out. Once that I was happy with that, and trimming again and trimming here also, I didn't want that to show. I'm going to take my hot glue gun, and I guess I didn't finish trimming again, guys. I wanted this to be perfect fit. I'm sorry. Sometimes I can be very anal about these things. So finally, I fit them. Then I'm adding some hot glue in small sections. I started with a little square there. Place my felt down, and I'm going to lift the section that I didn't glue quite yet and add some more hot glue until that was completely secured. And then we're going to do the same thing with the second piece, and this just makes it like it was a full big piece. And this is going to protect my surface and also keep the napkin from getting undone. So now I'm taking this whole block of floral foam from Dollar Tree and I'm gluing it to the bottom of my planter. And we're going to take, I believe I used 3 picks of this lavender from Dollar Tree. I got this when they were still 97 cents. I don't know how much they are right now. When I was adding the picks into the foam, I'm just trying to like space them out as evenly as possible and try to put it in like a zigzag way so they will be nice and filled. And I did want to leave enough room in between to put some Spanish moss also in this planter. So once I was happy with the placement, I took some of the Spanish moss from Dollar Tree and I'm going to just add them on around and around and in between each one of the pieces of lavender. And I just continued doing that until it was completely covered. And you already know, I'm not done yet. I'm going to take some of this ribbon and add it to the top section of the planter. So what I did is I took that one end and glued it on the middle there. And I'm sorry that you cannot see that with the angle I have here, but I just glued it right there in the middle, and then I added little bits of hot glue along the way, trying to make sure that this is completely secured until I went around the entire perimeter of the planter. And then I'm going to take another butterfly that I made off camera and I'm going to glue it right there in the middle, adding dabs of hot glue in the very top of the wings, and that is it. This is complete. And here is the final reveal. Let me know which one of these is your favorite. You know I always like to know. My friends, as always, thank you so much for watching. Be blessed, be a blessing, and craft responsibly. And if you would like to follow me on social media, here are my social media links. And don't forget to visit my friends and the playlist. And if you'd like to watch another video, here's a suggestion, and don't forget to subscribe. You are amazing. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Have an amazing day. Bye.